Good morning. It's actually 6:20 in Edinburgh, and today I decided to record my readings on my YouTube channel as well. Yeah, the channel is called Latoya Art Therapy, but I consider the reading out loud. It's an art. It's very artistic thing. Latoya, I haven't explained in my previous video. Latoya, that means Victoria in many countries in Africa. They like this name, Latoya. The legend is saying that Latoya was a woman telling people stories, fairy tales that were healing their souls and bodies. Yeah. So that is my mantra now. I know Encore, the platform where my podcast is 1001 books. Is offering many types of sounds you can combine with your reading, but I prefer to combine with the sounds I am spontaneously developing and playing and spreading. It's a rain stick. As I said in my previous video, that's a rain stick. I've made it in home conditions. I still need to decorate it, but I'll make another video about that. So let's continue with the reading. I'm reading at the moment Elif Shafak, The Island of Missing Trees. I've only reached the middle of the book. That is the kind of book you don't want to read it too quickly and to continue to indulge in the goodness of that book. Though the other Elif Shafak's book I've read before this, the Architect's Apprentice, I was reading it too slowly. Even though there are so many like amazing informations and situations and characters, and the elephant Chota is simply mesmerizing. I wanted to finish quicker that book, and I couldn't. It was like I think I just now I've realized it might have been the fact that the author wanted to write the book. You can feel it as the walk of the elephant is. Like we all know, usually the elephants, they are like heavy and slow, and okay, they can walk and run like really quickly and reach us if they meet us in the woods or somewhere. But usually, if the elephant is nice and calm, they'll like walk like imposingly but very slowly and like heavily. So this is how I felt actually the reading of the Architect's Apprentice. Um, yeah, and but that's actually not the second book I'm reading from Elif Shafak. That's the fifth, and I enjoyed all the other books as much as this one. Maybe this one even more. Yeah. Uh, but okay, so see, the chapter is called Fig Tree because in this chapter, this is the tree that is talking. Yeah, so we can see things through, let's say, the eyes of the tree, of a fig tree, which is a protagonist, we can say, one of the protagonists of the book. I have some water here as well. I once heard Yorgos tell Yusuf a story. It was late at night, all the customers had left, and the staff, having cleared the tables, washed the dishes, and swept the kitchen, had gone home. Sorry, I'll make a break. I if I have insights, I normally make a break from my reading and express my insights. Yesterday, I bought another deck of tarot cards, and that one, the new deck, is about trees, and I found out from that deck of cards that the fig tree is actually the tree of the forbidden fruit. So what we have here in this book is that there is a tavern in Nicosia in Cyprus, and the tavern is made by two guys. One is Turkish, one is Greek. And only in the previous chapter we as readers found out that they were lovers through the eyes of Kostas, who was at that time in 70s just a boy. And yeah, so only after seeing that card yesterday, I was like, oh my god, that's why it's a fig tree. I only suppose that's why the author chose to put a fig tree in the middle of this story. And actually, the fig tree is growing in the middle of the tavern, and there is a space in the ceiling of the tavern, so the tree can grow out of the tavern. Yeah, that's so good. So because so why forbidden fruit tree? Because a love between two men or two women, and more than these, one Greek and one Turkish in 70s in Nicosia in Cyprus, that was a forbidden fruit, metaphorically speaking. I'll drink some of my water. Okay. So, where only moments ago there had been laughter, music, and bustle, um, calm, right. Yusuf sat on the floor, his back to the window, his shadow sprawling across the dark glass, resting his head on Yusuf's lap. Yorgos lay staring at the ceiling, a sprig of rosemary between his lips. It was his birthday. They had got a cake early in the evening, a cherry and chocolate gâteau prepared by the chef. But otherwise, this evening was no different from any other. Neither man ever took a day off. They always worked, and everything they earned, after covering expenses and rent, they divided between them. "I've something for you," said Yusuf, producing a small box out of his pocket. I loved to observe the change in Yusuf when he was alone with Yorgos. He rarely, if ever, stumbled over his words when he talked to us plants. But he also stammered noticeably less when it was just the two of them. The speech impediment that had tormented him forever almost entirely evaporated when he was with his beloved. Yorgos, a smile softening his chiseled features, propped himself up on his elbow. "Hey, I thought we weren't buying each other anything this year." Taking the box nonetheless, he glowed with the bright expectation of a child anticipating a treat and unwrapped the tissue paper. "Oh my god!" Dangling between his fingers from a chain was a pocket watch, gold and sparkling. "This is beautiful," cried Simon. "Thank you. What have you done? This must have cost you a fortune." Yusuf smiled. "Open it. There is an poem engraved inside. The lid of the watch was a verse, the letters glinting like fireflies against the night." Yorgos read them aloud. "Arriving there is what you are destined for, but do not hurry the journey at all." "Oh, it's Cavafy," said Yorgos. It was his favorite poet. He turned the pocket watch over, finding there on the back two letters, Y and Y. "Do you like it?" asked Yusuf. "Like it? I love it," said Yorgos, his voice laden with emotion. "I love you." The smile of Yusuf's face faded into something else as he threaded his fingers through Yorgos' hair. He pulled him close and kissed him softly, the sadness in his eyes deepening. I knew what was troubling him. The day before, he had found a note stuck on the door with a glob of chewing gum. A curdly message, written in broken English using letters cut out from newspapers, left unsigned, smudged with dirt and something red to give the impression of blood, and perhaps it was. He had read the note several times, the ugly words: sodomites, homos, sinners, stabbing him like knives, cutting a vine close to the heart and opening a wound. Not a new one, but an old wound that had never had a chance to fully heal. Ever since he was a boy, he had been repeatedly picked on and ridiculed for not being manly enough, first by his own family, then the students and teachers at school, even perfect strangers. Taunts and bobs, held in sudden fits of rage and contempt, though once they arose he never understood. None of this was new, but this time it came with a threat. He had not mentioned any of it to Yorgos, not wanting to worry him. That night they chatted for hours, keeping me awake. I wrestled my branches, trying to remind them that a fig tree needed some sleep and rest, but they were too absorbed in each other to notice me. Yorgos drank quite a bit, chasing all that wine with Panagiota's carob liqueur. Although sober, somehow Yusuf sounded no less tipsy, laughing at every silly joke. They sang together, and my God, these two men, they both had terrible voices. Even Chico could sing better than them. Close to dawn, overwrought and exhausted, I was about to fall asleep when I heard Yorgos mutter, as though to himself, that poem by Cavaffe. Do you think someday we could leave Nicosia? I adore this island, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I wish we lived in a place where there was snow. They made plans to travel, drawing up a list of all the cities they wanted to see. Who are we kidding? We both know we won't leave, Yusuf said with a spurt of emotion that was almost despair. Birds can go, not us. He gestured towards Chico, sleeping in his cage under a black cloth. Yorgos was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Did you know that in the olden days people couldn't understand why so many birds disappeared in winter?" He told Yusuf how the ancient Greeks were puzzled over what happened to birds when the days turned mercurial and cold winds began to blow down from the mountains. They searched the empty skies, trying to find clues as to where they might be hiding. All those black kites, great geese, starlings, swallows, and swifts. Unaware of migration importance, the philosophers of antiquity came up with their own explanation. Every winter, they claimed, birds metamorphosed into fish. And fish, he said, were happy in their new environment. Food was plentiful in the water, life less grueling, but they could never forget where they came from and the way they used to soar above the earth, light and free. Nothing could replace that feeling, so when the longing became too much,